Hello and welcome. I am so glad you're here. I'm Beth, a creator-based coach with CMH Coaching for Life. I'm here today to help you and those you love create a life you feel grounded and at home in. Think of a life where you feel peace, love for those around you, and in a flow with just enough challenge to keep you happy and creating something wonderful. Sounds like magic, but it's not. You can create that life every single day. You can have a life full of love, excitement, hope, and creation. Our mission at CMH Coaching is to flood the earth with light through compassion, mindfulness, and hope. And I'm going to ask a favor of you. If you like what you see and hear today, think of someone you know that would enjoy and benefit from this message. Our mission is to flood the world with compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Share this with them. But for now, this is time just for you. So settle into whatever you're doing and enjoy this time with the girls, where we create that one awesome, amazing, perfect life every one of us is seeking.
You gotta watch your thinking. Watch your thinking. Watch your thinking.
We are really glad that you're here. And it's me and Jay Scene, and we hope that Jen will be here soon. I know. Did you like the way I changed that?
Yeah.
Jay Scene. Yeah, but we wanted to say hi. Welcome to a creator-based life. And welcome to the ability and the tools and all of the things that you need to be able to create the life that you've always wanted. They're all right here at CMH Coaching. And as you listen and as you try the tools, you will continue to create them and create the life that you want. So we just want to say hi, and we're grateful you're here and join us. I'm going to get my window so it doesn't look like I'm staring off into oblivion. There you go. Better? Like now I'm looking at you. There you go.
How about that?
How about that? I really can make eye contact. So I'm Beth. I'm a creator-based life coach. I'm the author of The Creator-Based Way, Create Your One Awesome, Amazing, Perfect Life. And of course, we put perfect in air quotes because it's 50-50 life, but living a 50-50 life really is perfect. And I'm here with Jacine, our business coach and also creator-based coach. And she's totally, totally awesome. Today, we're talking about the fourth C. We've talked about calm, and we've talked about clarity, and we've talked about curiosity, which was my personal favorite to date. But today we're going to talk about courage and what courage has to do with being your centered self and being your whole self and creating that self that you want. So let's talk a little bit about courage and about the centered life of our centered self. All those C's, right? And we're working through all 10 C's. This is number 4. But let's talk about what it means to be brave, what it means to be courageous. What do you think it means? What courage means? And do you think it's really important?
I think it really has a lot to do, like I'm thinking about CMH, like compassion, mindfulness, hope. When we have those in combination, it really helps me to take courage. And it helps me to take courage in a lot of different aspects of my life. And like, I'll just share an experience I had on Sunday. I was asked to play piano for the congregation for 3 of their main songs.
And it's been a little while since you did that, right?
Yes, the opening, and then they have a sacrament song, and then they have a closing song. So there were 3 songs, plus the prelude and the postlude music. So as people are entering and leaving, right? And they gave me almost a week. And I said yes because I often I say yes.
Because you thought you should?
I thought I should. Yeah, I thought I should. And then I thought I was courageous because I thought I know that God is going to help me, right? I know this is
you've
going to
done it
happen.
before very successfully. So you knew you could. It's just been a while.
I knew I could. It's been a while. And then as the day got closer and closer, I practiced more and more. And,
Did you practice with your
discovered,
nerves?
oh man, I
Did you?
discovered I had, you know, I was more in tune to all the mistakes. And so I started seeing the mistakes instead of what I was doing right. And then
Mm,
as I started to do that, then the fear came in and
yeah.
I lost courage. And
Yeah.
my husband was trying to give me courage and say, "Oh, you've got this. This is in your wheelhouse." And I'm like, "No, it's not. I could sing
What you're talking about, but no.
in front of or speak in front of, but we're talking playing piano is very different, mechanically different than all of that." And so I started focusing on all the mistakes.
Mhm.
And it really, really sucked my courage, right? I couldn't have fear and
Does.
courage all at the same time. And
Yeah.
so it took me practicing compassion, mindfulness, and hope um, to help me refocus.
Yeah.
And so as Sunday came up, it was like, Jason, if you make a few mistakes, that's okay.
Yeah.
They're not expecting perfection.
Right.
God doesn't expect perfection. And these are your friends. I mean, you
Mm.
might have some people out there that might make fun of you, but really does that matter, right? So,
Well, and I really don't think that they'll make fun of you. You might have a couple
no.
people who kind of cringe and say, "Oh, yep, that hurt." And
Yeah,
that's
like,
as far as it would go. I don't think anybody would ridicule. Yeah,
You'll
because they're
have those,
like, better you than me.
yeah, exactly. You'll have those people that they're going, oh, I'm so glad I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I'm
they'll
glad
be
they
like,
didn't ask me. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. But then the next thought to that is glad they didn't ask me. Boy, she's brave.
Mhm.
And that's it. It did. It took courage to get up there. And I stumbled through the first two prelude songs and I played very quiet because I was very tense.
Yeah.
And I think when we're in fear and we don't have the courage that we need, I know that moment when I moved into courage. And it was that moment when I was able to say, breathe and let it flow.
So, what happened in your body when you moved into courage? What did it
Oh,
feel like?
it when I was not encouraged, this is what it was
It
like.
was like,
My shoulders were up, my arms were tight. It was, and my fingers could not move freely, right?
isn't that
So you're
weird?
making
It's,
more mistakes.
yeah,
Mhm.
everything is tight and stiff.
Right. And
Yeah.
so when in between songs, it was like, it's okay. You have permission to be human. You've got this. And just start and let it flow, let it flow. And immediately, like you can see, my shoulders just came down and my arms relaxed and my fingers relaxed. And once that happened, the music was beautiful and the stumbling was gone and it flowed, right? I was in flow, which was
Yeah.
so cool. So
Yeah.
that was my courage moment for the week.
That's pretty
Yeah.
impressive. I've noticed, kind of like you did, that when I can give myself compassion for something, um, I don't really have a story off the top of my head. I'll have to think about that. But I know I have a really harsh inner critic. And so when I'm in a position to perform, whether it's teaching or playing or, anything, any kind of performance situation, I can go in two different directions, just like you did. I can go in fear and inadequacy. That's a big one for me. Is my inner critic will get going on, well, you're really not adequate. There are so many other people in the room that are more adequate than you, who actually are way better than you, and that'll get going. But when I embrace that with compassion and come back with love towards myself, that may be true. But I know that I'm supported and I know I have things to offer. That's what I'll say to my critic. And that's
Mhm.
one of my favorite things to say to my critic. That may be true. However, what we're focusing on here is yada, yada, yada. In
Mhm.
like with the organ, that may be true. but we're focusing here on the service that we can give with the organ. And I applaud myself, or I extend love to myself, or even better, I let my creator focus grow. And as I find, as I'm focused on my creator, that fear falls away and courage comes in and compassion comes in with the focus on my creator. That has been huge for me. And now I haven't trained myself to stay focused 24/7, but I can certainly feel like you did in your body when I'm not focused on my creator, because then the shoulders come up, like you said, and the arms get tight and everything takes off. But for me, focusing on compassion and on my creator naturally brings compassion. Compassion drives off fear, which is one of the very main goals that we have at CMH Coaching, is to help you not be in fear, to allay whatever fears there are through CMH, compassion, mindfulness, hope, and that focus on our creator. And it works. I'm a living testimony of it. I know it does. It makes us strong. Yeah. And it gives us courage. It's kind of a miraculous thing, the shift. What about you, Jen? What are you thinking?
I'm sitting there going, man, I just run away. So
You do not. You have done a lot of hard things that I have seen you do.
But there are things that I just will not engage in, where maybe I need to have more courage to engage, instead of like jumping in and saying, okay, let me tense and let me feel. And also I'll just be like, yeah, just not doing it, and I'll just like,
So then avoid the whole experience.
Yeah. So maybe I need to be more of the like, maybe I should engage and find my courage muscle or something. I don't know, but
I would totally say you're already engaged because you're on the podcast.
mm-hmm.
And I remember when we first started about talking about having a podcast. You want to tell that story?
No, I want to hear your perspective of that story.
Okay, so I don't know, what was it? Maybe 4 years ago? That maybe 5 years ago, somewhere in that place, Jen and I met. We met on a cruise that we both miraculously landed on at the same time. She didn't have somebody. She knew she was going to find somebody. It was a training cruise, and we ran into each other, and I immediately gelled with Jen. She looked just like the character in what's that?
Inside Out.
Inside Out. Yep. She even had her hair dyed blue. She looked just like the character Joy in Inside Out. And literally she glowed. She was all in her, her vacation clothes and her blue hair. And she was so happy. And just I met her and kind of fell in love, that bromance kind of thing. But anyway, we kept in touch after, and she would come and we'd work together on different healing things. And over time, it grew into, hey, Jen, will you help me teach this class? Hey, Jen, will you help me teach this class? And then we got together and we started teaching together, and Jacine joined us. And then came the idea of a podcast. Mm-hmm. And Jen didn't want to be on a podcast. Do you remember, Jacine?
I do remember, yeah.
Okay, what do you remember?
She very hesitant. She's like,
Yeah. Well, and like what you just said, Jen, I go hide. I think it was months where we would bring up this idea of a podcast, and you would just quietly let it just slide by. Thank you. No, I'm not going
to see here.
Nothing. Exactly. Exactly. And there was that quiet avoidance, but at the same time, there was that, I will if you want me to.
You're going to force me to do this, aren't you?
Yeah, I will if you want me to. So how did you, because you are a huge asset to the podcast. I've had great feedback, especially last week when we were talking about curiosity, people who have listened. Yeah, but how did you move past, I don't want to do this, into courage of, I'm going to show up? What happened?
Guilt? No, I'm just kidding.
No. Pressure, peer pressure.
Peer pressure, guilt, fear of letting somebody down. Probably a lot of all those little things, but just also, I think after the first few times we did it, I realized it's really not that bad, because I don't see everybody's reaction. I don't.
Yeah, it's just us talking.
I don't care. I don't know. So, I mean, I care that people, but I don't take it, so I'm just like, yeah, they're not in front of me showing me that. Because I do have an inner critic, but I have an inner the imposter. You're not good enough. You don't know anything.
That
Why-
imposter syndrome.
So
Yeah.
it's like, so I've had to like really kind of curb that and understand that, yeah, you don't know everything, but you do know some things.
Mm.
To speak from your experience.
Yeah. I remember Jody Moore coaching at one point remember when she started to teach B minus is good enough.
I cannot.
Yeah. Lots of people have problems. Lots of perfectionists have problems with B minus is
Yeah.
good enough. But one of the premises that she used was your B minus is someone else's A.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start looking at it as serving someone, at least for me, that helps me with my courage to be willing. I mean, there were a lot of people in our congregation that wouldn't be able to even play the top hand of the hymn. They would sing a cappella. And so my B minus, which really was B minus, was good enough. Because at least I could do a top hand on a lot of things. And there were some that I could do the bottom hand too, and it would work.
I had an experience that kind of helped me also understand a concept about this too. Was I was doing something with somebody in a semi-professional arena, thinking, talking about some things, I think, and she's like, oh, you just know everything. And I looked at her and I said, I'm faking it. She just looks at me. She goes, "You are." I'm like, "Yes." And she's just like,
Totally faking it.
awesome. I'm all like, "Fake it till you make it," type thing. And I'm like that. I said, "I just have a little bit of understanding." And she's just like, "I just thought you knew everything." I was like, "I don't." So sometimes we don't know what other people, are like. I don't know. It's just really, really cool. And then the other thing that I learned too, I learned this from Simon Sinek.
I love him.
Oh, I love him. I just love him. But he says, he goes, "I want to be the dumbest person in the room."
Yep.
He goes, "There's always room to learn."
Yes.
And they don't want to come across as a know-it-all. And so that helped me to have courage in the sense of like speaking up when I said, "I just really don't get this," or like, "Can you teach me about this?" And
Yeah.
so, that, and so I think I've kind of transitioned into that place. I'm not afraid anymore to show people that I don't know. I can be an idiot, in certain things, and I don't know. But coming from the space of like, but then teach me, what do you know? Or I'm learning, or things like that. And that helps silence that critic and that imposter person to be like, well, we can always learn from something or learn from somebody.
Yeah. And
So-
I would think that is using curiosity to overcome,
Yeah.
which is another one of those beautiful C words, right? Yeah. And for me, I know being curious about something, wondering about it actually makes me braver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting that a lot of the C's that are in that centered self framework do build on each other and help us to become the person we want to be if we're just willing, to not be the smartest person in the world and to in the room and to be vulnerable.
Right.
That's I think the key is like, I think a big key to being courageous or have courage is to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
To be okay with that, to be okay with the sense of like, yeah, I don't get it. I'm not all that, or I don't have,
Yeah.
So
yeah. And I guess that's why centering on my creator helps me so much to feel courage, because then my vulnerability feels like it's covered with him.
Mm-hmm. Or that it's just okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah. And we get and we receive that peace, right, from our creator, which he gives us that peace to say, oh yeah, I can do it. And it is going to be okay.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I was thinking about Brene Brown's Rising Strong. She does talk a lot about vulnerability. Vulnerability. Wow.
Yeah. A lot of syllables in that word. Vulnerability.
And just the courage that it takes. She did so many studies, and the people that lived these authentic and happy long lives were people that would get up and dust themselves off when they fell and try again. And she did do some studies where it was people that had a belief system in a higher power.
Mm-hmm.
And with us, it's God. With God, they took courage so much faster than other people. Like they were able to get off after being face down in the arena stand up, brush themselves off, and say, all right, let's try this again. I get a do-over. Let's do it over.
Yeah.
And and she said, I'm not here to preach to people, but in these findings, you got to pay attention.
Mhm.
You got to pay attention because there's something here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's real.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Well, we just keep making our way through. Every day we wake up, we get out of bed, we do it again. And if every day we wake up and we get out of bed and we do it again, we're making progress. We just keep one step after another after another. It's really amazing if we've had any number of years to live here on the earth, the incredible progress that we make. When we look at the progress, it looks like very little on a day-to-day basis, right?
Mhm.
No, my jeans still don't button the way I want them to, or my bread still doesn't turn out, or my muffins still fall in the middle, or my garden still gets fungus. But when we look over 5 years and 10 years and 20 years, and we look back and we think, oh my word, I am smarter. I do know more. And it's just the basic daily get up, get out of bed, and go back to work, right?
Mhm.
Being willing. Yeah, just being willing. The tool that we have today is called a brave breath. And it's really a loose tooth. Loose tooth. It's a loose tool. No loose teeth here. I'm good.
Like brave breath.
I was
Yeah,
like,
the
that's
brave-
new. I haven't
but-
heard that one before.
The brave breath. And it's just, and I love it. I'm going to give credit to Carolyn Brown because Carolyn is the one that originally had an idea similar to this. And so it was the jumping off point for the brave breath. When Carolyn was trying hard to overcome some things, she would inhale with a nice, long, deep inhale, the characteristic that she wanted. And then she would exhale what was holding her back.
Mhm.
And so with the brave breath, you can inhale a nice long inhale of strength and courage. And maybe when you inhale, you could affirm to yourself, I am capable. I am strong. And as you inhale, just let that fill to a comfortable level and then hold it just for 4 seconds, 2 or 3 seconds, even at the top. And then when you exhale doubt and you exhale fear. And then when you get to the bottom, you hold it again, just long enough. You don't even have to hold very hard. You just let it rest, let your breath rest. And then from that resting space, inhale again. I am capable. I am strong. And continue that. You continue that 3 or 4 times until you've practiced maybe 3-4 minutes. And doing that on a regular basis really does create courage. It's a brave breath. Jen, what do you know about creating things in that way? I know you do a lot with imagery and with the breath.
It's interesting that the brain, especially if you can close your eyes and you can like envision it happening, like you create it in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Your brain your brain doesn't distinguish between reality and non-reality. So if you can create it in your mind, you can create it in reality. So, and anything that the brain hears more than 3 times, we'll take it as a truth. So, yeah. So,
well, and think about doing that on a daily basis. You can create all kinds of amazing things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also think you probably have created some not so nice things too.
Yes, we are powerful creators, are we not?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
My favorite brave breath or my favorite breath practice is the one that I learned from Jen. I am safe. I am calm. I choose to be here. And when I get to that, I choose to be here, my whole body just settles because I've made the choice. I'm safe and I'm calm and I'm present. Yeah. Okay. So we have just like 5 minutes. Let's just talk 5 minutes about mindfulness and presence. Because we're doing this project in Mastermind, y'all, that for the next 2 weeks, we're keeping track of how present we are during our days. And we've only done it now this is our 3rd day, maybe 2nd day. But I realized, and maybe you guys can help me with this. Yesterday, I really don't know anything about being present. I thought I did. I thought I knew all about mindfulness. I teach about mindfulness all the time. And everybody knows I have squirrels that live in my head. The presence is not an innate thing for Beth Brooks. But when I went through the day, these last couple of days, it's been, is this present? Okay, wait, I'm eating breakfast. Am I present? Okay, wait, I'm driving down the road. Am I present? Wait, I'm right. Am I present? Am I present? All day long, am I present? And now I'm not quite sure what present means. What do y'all think? What does present mean in your nitty gritty, hands on life? What does it feel like? What is it?
I was thinking about this because we had our call this morning. We talked a little bit about it, and I was just kind of like, I need those times when I can go and mentally squirrel something out. I need those times. So I'm kind of like, I think I need to have moments where I am very aware that I am present. And I believe there are moments that it's very beneficial. Like I squirrel sometimes when I'm in prayer. That's not being present.
Right.
It's the truth. I can't even tell you the times when I have knelt down by the side of the bed to pray before I go to sleep at night, and I had a prayer like I would have had on my food.
Yeah.
It is like the most embarrassing thing. Yeah.
So it's like,
I just
me,
wasn't present. Yeah.
To me, so I was thinking about it, like, so I'm like being present in relationships, I think is this connection, this like your full attention to whatever is happening. So I was thinking like we talk about how we listen to people. So what does that look like? Being completely present and engaged in the individual.
Well, and it's full focus, right?
Yeah.
It's
So
every time your puppy brain wants to run off, you bring it back into full focus on the individual.
and I was thinking also that I think a present practice is also gratitude, because it makes you focus in on whatever it is at that moment that you are just like completely aware of and grateful for.
Yeah.
And so, I'm trying to also figure out what is present for me, because
Right. And what does it feel like in my body?
yeah,
And what does it feel like in my mind? I'm kind of coming to my brain where I'm thinking it used to be squirrels, because there's a whole, that whole team of squirrels. I really am thinking it's more puppies than squirrels. And I think about how my centered self, I am now trying to leash train my puppies. And so I take one of my, say, 4-month-old puppies. They're pretty well house trained. And I take one of them on the lead, and we go outside, and the puppy tugs, and the puppy balks, and the puppy sits, and the puppy wraps the leash around me a few times, all these different things. But with my pup, and because I've leash trained a fair number of puppies, I naturally am compassionate with my pup. I just love puppies. I love my dogs. And so when I think about doing that for my mind and extending that compassion and envisioning that balking and that stretching and that tugging and going, no, darling, this is the way this is done. Here, just come back in here. Just not a problem. Just come back in here. And here's a treat, because we always leash train with a whole pocket full of treats. Have a treat. Then over time, I go from a 4-month-old balking dog to a 2-year-old who will just walk next to me. I'm beginning to see that's the real perk of meditating every day. It's like taking my puppy for a walk, just a short 10-minute walk, and practicing together. And then over a couple of years' time, I'm no longer wrangling. We are going out and having an enjoyable conversation together, me and my mind, or me and my dog. Yeah.
Go ahead, Jen.
No, you go ahead, JC.
I think it's important to remember too that, like Jen was saying earlier, we have moments that
yes, we do have moments.
We don't need to be fully present all the time, but think about the times that are really important. And maybe you go through your day and you look at your day and you say, okay, I have this meeting, or whatever, or I'm with this person, I'm with this person, I'm with this person. How can I be fully present? So putting that in a clinical role. If you have a doctor and they're not
that you're working with, yes,
right, you're not fully present with your patient, you're thinking about the next patient that's coming in, what a disservice that is to that person that's in front of you. And so as you walk in that room, I mean, there are some tactical things that that I coach on, and it's for my doctors, it's you put a green dot next to on the doorway before you walk in, and you touch that green dot. That means it's green.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Go
so
time.
it can be something that's very physical. It can also be like a rubber band on your where, okay, I'm starting this, I'm with this person, so I'm going to be
It's
fully
like a
present
bookend.
and focused with this person. And
Yeah.
as you do that, they can feel and sense that you care about them. Like it takes that caring from here to here because I'm giving you all of me at that time. And
Well,
then
and
when I walk out,
don't you find that when you actually do give them all of you become super energized and charged because of the connection?
yeah, yeah. And you think about that person at a party or somewhere where you walk into the room and they come and talk to you, and it's like you're the only person in the room because they give you their full focus. And then they might only spend 2 minutes with you. But how do you feel when they leave? And now
Right.
they're talking to someone else, and you run into that person later, and you're both going, oh my gosh, well, I felt really important when they were talking to me. Well, and it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that it's a ton of time, but it's being fully present. And
Fully
that's
engaged.
really what matters.
Yes. So can we loop this back, the mindfulness and the presence, to the first four C's we've talked about? Because I'm positive that they all are intertwined. So we talked about calmness, and we've talked about clarity, and we've talked about curiosity and courage. What is the role of mindfulness and presence in bringing us into that space with clarity and curiosity and calmness, and now with courage?
I wonder if it isn't a little bit of like, if you're not kind of present, and I'm going to present and aware, you're
Mhm.
distracted. Are you going to miss some of the opportunity of having those seas in your life? Like I can remember my husband and I can't remember where we were, but we saw the most amazing sunset and people around us. We had to have been in some scenic lookout or something. I can't remember exactly what it was.
Mhm.
Every single person had their phone up or were on their phone like this and not watching.
Watching the sunset, the real
You're not
sunset.
experiencing this amazing thing, but you want to record it, and we know that it's not going to look the same on your phone.
No, no.
It's like
And it won't feel the same.
yeah,
The
it's like I
energy of
wonder
it is different.
sometimes if we aren't distracted, if that's part of not being present.
Mm,
I love that.
I don't know. I've been thinking about this all day. Been thinking
Yeah.
about
Well, it's fascinating. We're going to keep talking about it as we finish going through the
yeah.
C's, because really mindfulness is the key to a centered self and the connection that we have with our creator. But we need mindfulness to be connected with our creator as well. So we'll just keep going through this quarter on mindfulness and figuring out the C's. And if y'all have any ideas, please post them in the comments and we'll talk about those too, or questions, either way. But Jacine, we have book club this week. Do we have a new book?
We do have a new book, and the name of the book, which I love, and we had our first discussion today, it was great, is Authentic Happiness. And it's by,
Oh, I love that.
yeah, Martin Siegelman, PhD. And
Write it down.
he actually wrote another book called The Learned Optimism. So, just in the very beginning of this, he's talking about authentic happiness and how you can see that you can't fake it because you can see it on people's faces. And he said the way you do it are those nonverbal cues. And when a person smiles, you smile. Your authentic smile is you can't fake the lines next to your eyes. Like it's authentic. And he said, how many people look around you, and how many people smile and they just put on the photo smile, right? Yeah.
And you can really tell the difference. If you're not smiling with your eyes, you can tell. And
Right.
sometimes you'll walk into a room and people don't want to be there and they're smiling without their eyes and it's just a little creepy, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is
yeah.
very cool.
Yeah.
All right. I just have to double check the learned optimism. I want to make sure we have the right author
Mhm. Mhm.
because
Martin Siegelman, E.P.
Seligman. Yeah.
Seligman. Yeah.
Seligman. Yeah. Dr. Seligman. Something
Yeah.
just wasn't quite right with it. I just wanted
Yeah.
to make sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's amazing. He is the father of the modern psychology movement for learned optimism. Yeah.
Yes.
He is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be great. Authentic Happiness. I may have to join you on that one because I love that book. And
my
I've loved Learned Optimism. And then he does the Hope Circuit. That was his last book that he
Oh,
wrote.
is that him? Oh,
Yeah, he is amazing. He works out of Penn State and they actually have a happiness project there.
Yes.
So if you go there, yeah,
Mhm.
you can go and learn your own happiness scores. There's all kinds of
Yep.
quizzes and activities and things that you can do there. Yeah, it's awesome. Well, this is going to be a good few weeks
It
with
is. And
Authentic
it's not
Happiness.
it's not a super long book, so you guys you can read it pretty quickly. But there's a lot of information in there, and just in the little bit that we read this week, not even a full chapter, there were a lot of takeaways. So yeah.
That'll be great. That'll be great. Well, thank you guys for your comments on courage. And
Mhm.
Jen, for your incredible courage in showing up week after week after week for this podcast. We couldn't do it without you. I swear, when you're not here, it's a little bit lame. We need Jen.
True.
I think we need this 3-tier. That's what we need.
We do. We
We
need the
do.
3 tiers, just like the
We
compassion,
do.
mindfulness, hope. We
That
need
triangle.
the triangle.
Yeah. Yes.
Yep, because we all bring something. We can't any one of us bring it all. So till next week, thanks y'all. And I hope that you create a great life this week and practice. Just keep practicing that courage every day. Presence, mindfulness. See you soon.
Bye, y'all.
Bye y'all.
With every little thought I think. I can choose to be happy, choose to be free, moment by moment. It's all up to me, 'cause what I think about, I bring about. That's the way it is, and there is no doubt. Day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think.
Hey, thanks for joining us today in A Creator-Based Life. I hope you felt that compassion, mindfulness, and hope you came seeking today. You can find more of it at cmhcoaching.com or on Linktree/CMH Coaching. Of course, any social media outlet, we're there too. Because you felt the benefit and light in this message, please invite those you care deeply about to join us. Help us to create a ripple effect across the globe of compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Then we can create a creator-based life together. Have a great week, y'all. We'll talk to you soon.
Fill my mind with gratitude. I give thanks for everything. With every little thought I think, I can choose to be happy, choose to be free, moment by moment. It's all up to me, 'cause what I